So welcome Bobby Sharpless and Jamie Warren of Unlimited Motorsport. Thank you both of you for joining me today. How's it going?
I'll let you start.
No, yeah, good. Good. So obviously 2 seats taken, 2 cars in build, entry sorted and waiting for engines.
Yeah, it's a lot to discuss.
Yeah, a lot to discuss. It's a busy time of year as it is for all the teams on the grid. Like just repeating what Bob said, we've got 2 cars. We have got the potential to run a third car at the moment, but that's just discussions that we're having with drivers and partners. But at the moment, we're a secure 2-car team, which is good. Obviously, what Unlimited did last year was great. You know, I was there working for another team, seeing it from the outside, and they did a great job, which was good. So this year is about that step, that benchmark you need to sort of reach, which we're prepared to do. At the end of the day, we're both committing to this, and the drivers are as well. We know what we want to achieve throughout the year, so it should be an exciting season.
Yeah, for sure. There's lots to talk about. But Bob, I wanted to start asking you by sort of reflecting on last season, because you were the team grew so quickly throughout the season. So you must be really proud of what you all achieved.
Yeah, it was a big achievement. We didn't. I think obviously I went into it blind. Didn't know how involved and how much of an investment it is. To be completely honest, turned up at Donington, signed a sponsor at the last minute, and wrapped it overnight, and off we went. And then, you know, from round to round, the car became better. The team became stronger, and then by the last 3 rounds, we was doing really good upmarket hospitality, and everyone in the grid talking about it. I think people realise that we want to be there to stay rather than just go and knock a season out.
Just explain how much work there is that goes into running a touring car team, because there's a lot, isn't there?
Yeah, there's absolutely loads. I mean, Bob obviously thrown in the deep end year one. Probably a lot of surprises that come his way, and I think he sort of managed them really well, really. But I think this year you'll really see it with 2 cars. There's so much that goes into obviously building the cars, upgrades, the regulations that change, the staffing, the structure. You know, you got hospitality. There's so much that goes into the team, running the team, the day-to-day stuff, and it all has to be managed and structured to get the best out of the team, and ultimately we want to perform on track. We've got 2 drivers. Dexter, obviously, he's been in the championship before, and I've worked well with him before. And Max is obviously, he's young and new to the championship, and I know he'll be hungry to perform. So in terms of performance, we have to be realistic. Obviously, yes, fighting for independence is going to be great, and to get some results there will be brilliant. But Dexter does have a good chance for Jax. He's got some good competition in that category. But I think it'll be interesting, you know. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens this year.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be extra work this time around running more than 1 car, but that's a sensible move. It makes sense, and it's the right step to continue growing the team, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You want progression, and the way you look at it and the way Bob will look at it is you've sat down year 1 and you've run 1 car, and progression is to run 2 cars, you know, and it's just a step-by-step process, especially being such a new team on the grid. Obviously myself coming on board for this year, I'm here to stay. It's a long-term program, you know. I've had a sort of a full-time year out of BTCC and gone away and done other stuff, which has been great, but I've come back and I want to get my teeth into it, and this is where I want to be, you know. It's like home. The championship is like home for me. It always has been.
And why do you think that is?
Especially to work back with a Cooper as you was part of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like it's my program from the start, if you like. So that was really appealing to me. There was a lot of stuff there was development on the back end of where it was before. So yeah, we got a few upgrades, a few things that we're doing with M Sport as well, which is good. We got some engineers that have come on board for this year. So there's definitely a really a good sort of structure in place, a good group of lads that are coming on board. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be familiar faces that everyone will see and work together again, you know.
You've got 2 really exciting talents. Obviously, Max is new to the series, but Dexter's had some experience before. They should be able to work together pretty well using Dexter's experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Max is going to need all the help that he can possibly get. You know, like there's one thing being quick in a race car, but like I say to all the sort of the young upcoming drivers that I've worked with in the past, as soon as you're sat on that grid with all the other drivers around you in that race one scenario, it's a different ball game, you know, and that's where your racecraft and everything else needs to sort of play itself. So yeah, I mean he's got plenty of experience in BTCC. He's been away and done the GT Championship, and he's sort of matured. He came down for a seat fit sort of a couple of weeks ago. And he's definitely matured as a person, so it's really exciting to see what he can do this year. And I know that he'll be there to support Max, to sort of bring him up to speed with everything else, as much as sort of myself and Bob will as well. So yeah, we've got our goals and objectives for this year, so we're interested to see what they can do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you say how unique the BTCC is. What is it, do you think, that draws not just drivers, but people like yourself to compete in arguably the toughest championship in this country?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think once you're in, you can't leave. It's an addiction, you know. But the championship is great. The regulations, what makes it the championship that it's like no other. So sort of Sam Riches and Alan Gale, they do a great job on those regulations. So it makes it interesting. Every year we come back, there's always something else that we need to learn, and it really does mix the field up. You've got what you call sort of the front running teams, and with these regulations, you struggle to call them front running teams because anything can happen now. So yeah, it's a great championship to be a part of, and it's got a fan base like no other. You know, the fans are great. Without the fans and all the partners that are on board, a lot of it wouldn't happen. You know.
Yeah, of course, and I think that's obviously another thing. As much as you guys are working hard, like all the other teams, to improve your cars on track, as we've discussed earlier, you know, there's lots that goes on behind the scenes. So it must be cool, especially as a new team, building up that fan base and reputation with sponsors as well, because as you said, that's a huge part of it, and without them, it wouldn't really happen, would it?
No, exactly, and that's what it's about. You need to build a fan base, and from nothing, it's very difficult. So we're always thinking of ways and ideas to do that. And obviously, being part of BTCC, it does really help. So we have a few ideas that are coming up next month that we're going to share with the fans. Could potentially be a third driver announced. We just don't know, you know. So, but one thing we do know is we're here to stay. We're here to do a good job. We want to perform on and off track, and we want to do well. You know, we want to win. We want trophies. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've mentioned obviously earlier on in this interview the likes of the Jack Sears Trophy, the independent class, but you know, is there a particular aim for not just you as a team, but your individual drivers? What's the expectation for this season?
Expectation is we need to perform, and when I say perform, we need to be realistic. And I touched on this earlier. They're both obviously ended in the independents as well as the Jack Sears. The independent's going to be tough. Obviously, all the drivers are not announced as of yet, so we're not too sure on the full potential of competition. But there are some drivers out there that have been announced in the independents, which are quick in sort of quick cars as well. So the championship, in terms of that overall and independents, will be tough. But we're going to sort of put all our cards on the table to make sure we maximise everything to make sure we sort of get those results. But yeah, both obviously in the Jack Sears as well. So that's going to be really interesting because it sort of plays itself within the actual the main race, if you like. So you're sort of in the scenario where if you're battling for a Jack Sears win, your mindset's different to an overall position to where the other Jack Sears driver is on that track. So there'll be a lot of that, a lot of strategy involved in terms of that. If we can sort of get near the end of the season and we're looking like we could potentially win it. We've got two drivers that are in it, and they're both there to make sure they can. So there's good competition in Jack Sears. Obviously, Darryl with the team last year has moved over to WSR in the BMW. We know that Darryl's quick, and we know that the BMW is quick as well. So it's going to be a tough competition, but I'm really interested to see what we can do to compete.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice it's exciting for everyone, but it's nice with the fact that you guys are such a new team. You can tell how passionate you guys all are. I think that's an important thing, isn't it? Because if you're passionate about something, yes, it's hard work, yes, it can be stressful, and yes, it's disappointing. But if you enjoy doing it, that's half the battle, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I had the conversation with Bob to start off with. We spoke over the winter, and it's just the passion that he has to go racing. You know, that's what you want. I'm passionate myself, and it becomes your life. You know, you make it your life, and he's passionate to go racing. I've thrown some ideas on the table, and he listened, and we want to make it work. So yeah, it's really exciting times for Unlimited. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. We want to make it work. We want to compete. But last year, you know, we had a car that, you know, we was probably mocked beginning of the season, but we had a car that, if it wasn't, you know, it finished every race apart from if it was in the gravel or something, it wasn't down to mechanical failure. So, you know, now with 2 cars out there, that job becomes twice as hard, and that's what we want to do, is give both drivers a car that finishes every race, and with that comes more points and hopefully higher up, you know, up independent tables and Jack Sears tables and the overall leaderboard.
The BTCC, obviously, like we discussed, it's a really tricky championship. Would you agree it's not about how you cope on your good days, it's about how you perform on your bad days, and consistency is very important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Consistency is really key. It's anything can happen in BTCC, as everyone would agree. You know, you can go from having a really good Saturday in qualifying to race one, lap one, and your weekend's over. You know, it's very hard to bounce back. So it's how you react from that, and it's all down to the drivers and the people that you've got around you. So yeah, consistency is really key. And yeah, you need to make sure that you have everything in place, and you can react when you have your bad days, but then you enjoy the good days. You know, forward to sort of seeing all the fans out there as well this year. So yeah, just obviously thank you for obviously their support that they gave the team last year, and we're looking forward to meeting new fans this year. I'm sure that Max and Dexter will both bring their fan base along, and we welcome them to the team. You know.
Yeah, 100%. And go and give us a follow, and keep your eyes peeled within the next month or so, because there'll be some opportunities coming forward.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I look forward to seeing how everything goes for the team leading up to the start of the season. Yeah, keep up the good work, because I know it's obviously there's a lot going on. It's busy times, but it's all going to be worth it, isn't it? So yeah, keep up the good work, guys.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks, mate.